Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and opening your phone out of habit. Instagram won't load, Facebook is gone, X feels empty, no notifications, no likes, no stories. No trending topics. You restart your phone. Still nothing. You check the news and read a single shocking headline. Social media has disappeared overnight, everywhere. No warning, no explanation. Just silence where billions of voices used to be. At first, it feels strange, then uncomfortable, and then deeply unsettling. So what would really happen to our minds, our societies, and our world if social media vanished tomorrow? If social media disappeared tomorrow, the first reaction would be confusion. People would assume the apps are temporarily down. They would refresh, log out, log back in, check other platforms, and wait. But within hours, it would become clear that this isn't a normal outage. Every major platform is gone. No feeds, no timelines, no profiles. The digital spaces where billions of people spend hours every day have simply vanished. The silence would feel unnatural. Social media isn't just entertainment anymore. It's a daily ritual. It's how people wake up, how they relax, how they escape boredom, how they stay informed, and how they feel connected. Without it, millions would feel restless almost immediately. People would reach for their phones automatically, only to remember there's nowhere to go. The habit loop breaks, leaving behind a strange emptiness. In the first day, productivity might actually rise. Offices would notice fewer distractions. Students would spend less time scrolling. People would finish tasks faster because the endless stream of notifications is gone. But this calm wouldn't last long. Social media doesn't just distract, it also organizes information, trends, opinions, and emotions. Without it, the world wouldn't slow down. It would lose direction. News would become harder to follow. Social media has become the fastest way information spreads, for better or worse. Breaking news, emergencies, natural disasters, and global events reach people through timelines before traditional media can respond. Without social platforms, information would move slower. Rumors would spread through word of mouth, messaging apps, and local networks. But there would be no central place where the world watches events unfold together. Businesses would feel the impact almost immediately. Millions of small businesses rely entirely on social media for marketing, customer interaction, and sales. Influencers, content creators, digital marketers, and online brands would lose their income overnight. Entire industries built around likes, shares, and followers would collapse instantly. Advertising agencies would scramble to find alternatives. Companies would rush back to email marketing, websites, and traditional ads, but rebuilding that reach would take years. On a personal level, identity would be shaken. For many people, social media isn't just a tool, it's part of how they define themselves. Profiles are carefully curated versions of life, highlighting achievements, experiences, and social connections. Without those platforms, people would feel invisible. The question, "Who am I without my online presence?" would suddenly feel very real. Some would experience anxiety, loneliness, and even withdrawal symptoms similar to addiction. Teenagers and young adults would be hit the hardest. Social media shapes friendships, validation, and self-worth during critical developmental years. Without likes and comments, some would feel relief, but others would feel lost. The constant comparison would disappear, which could improve mental health in the long run. But the sudden absence of social feedback could create confusion and insecurity in the short term. Politics and activism would change dramatically. Social media has become the main battlefield for public opinion, movements, and protests. Hashtags organize protests. Viral posts expose injustice. Campaigns spread messages instantly. Without social media, political movements would lose momentum. Organizing people would become slower and more localized. Governments might regain some control over narratives, while grassroots movements would struggle to reach large audiences. At the same time, misinformation would take a different form. While social media spreads fake news quickly, it also allows rapid fact-checking and public correction. Without it, false information could spread quietly through closed communities, making it harder to track and counter. The world wouldn't become more truthful, it would become less transparent. Human relationships would slowly change. Without online validation, friendships would become more intentional. People would have fewer connections, but potentially deeper ones. Meeting in person, calling on the phone, and writing messages would feel more meaningful again. Birthdays wouldn't be remembered by notifications. They'd be remembered by memory. But reconnecting with people far away would become harder. Long-distance relationships would feel more distant. Mental health would go through a complicated transition. Anxiety related to comparison, fear of missing out, and constant exposure to negativity would decrease over time. People would sleep better. Attention spans might slowly recover. But the sudden loss of social connection could increase feelings of isolation, especially for those who rely on online communities for support, identity, or belonging. The cultural impact would be massive. Trends would slow down. Memes would disappear. Viral moments would become rare. Music, fashion, slang, and pop culture would spread regionally instead of globally. The world would feel less synchronized. Shared global moments where millions react to the same post at the same time would vanish. Culture would become quieter, slower, and more fragmented. Over months and years, society would adapt. New platforms might emerge in different forms. Forums, blogs, newsletters, and community-based networks would return. People would learn to live without constant validation. Creativity might become more personal and less performative. Art would exist without algorithms deciding what deserves attention. But the world would never return to what it was before social media. An entire era would end. Historians would describe it as the age when humanity learned to live inside a digital mirror and then suddenly lost it. Some would call it a relief, others would call it a loss. In reality, it would be both. Social media disappearing wouldn't destroy humanity, but it would force humanity to confront itself without filters, without numbers, and without instant applause. And that might be the most uncomfortable change of all.